Hey everyone, welcome back to the Track Limits podcast presented by Formula Addict. I'm your host Swish with my co-host Henny wearing some purple today.
I had to do it.
Looks
This
nice.
is our off color.
Off color, I love it. But Henny, we've traveled quite a bit now and we're here in London at Outset Studios.
Indeed.
Are you excited for today's guest?
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
The fact that we know him well too. It's a fun one.
That is true. We don't actually normally hang out with our guests beforehand.
No, we don't.
But this is someone who is genuinely a friend of the pod, a man of the people, one might say.
Few people might not.
Yeah. But on a serious note, a person who has extensive background in karting growing up, an individual who you might know as the co-host for the Screaming Meals podcast with Marcus Armstrong and Clement Novalak, and an individual who works in motorsport, but in a different way than you might think. And we're going to explore that. Welcome, James Blair.
Woo! G'day.
Get it.
Thanks for having me on. It's exciting.
Of course. How are you doing?
Good. It's Friday night, which is great. So I'm full of energy, ready to go. Yeah.
Let's go.
No.
Any big weekend plans coming up, or?
None.
None.
Which is just the way I like it. Which is good. I think the Pro Bowl's on this weekend.
It is.
I don't think there's really any racing going on, which is always nice.
Yeah.
In a way when you work in
We'll have
racing.
to see him for Super Bowl, by the way.
Yes, we do. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Who'd you got?
Chiefs. You'd be a fool not to. It's a love story, baby. Just say yes. You know?
It's not even about football.
No.
It's not.
It's a story to be
isn't.
told.
Yeah. This is not a sporting competition at this point.
All right. Well, what we want to do is break down your career over the next, 40, 45 minutes. And the first thing I think you should explain to our audience is in today's world, going into 2024, what is it that you are really, really focused on? What keeps, you very busy every single week? We know, obviously, a lot of people know you from Screaming Meals, but that's not your full-time job.
No.
And your full-time job is super cool.
Yeah. Focusing on, going into this year, this time of the year, where are we now? We're the 2nd of February.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's getting ready for the race season. All the drivers are on holiday in Brazil or the islands somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all the team owners, I'm currently sorting out their insurance. Well, not everybody, I wish. Sorting out insurance policies for the year. So drivers, making sure that they've got their medical policies in place in time for things like Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into Formula 2 testing pretty soon, and then on into IndyCar. So it's kind of now tiering those clients to make sure that each one of them has what they need when they need it for. So that's kind of focus number one. And then focus number two is more sort of Screaming Meals orientated or crew orientated, making sure, Marcus has everything he needs for IndyCar, Clem likewise for ELMS. We've just got back from Daytona, so we had our own drama there, which was, kept us on our toes, which was all cool. And so then focus number three is then, I guess, making sure that I'm okay and I'm doing all right. We'll worry about that later.
Third
you
priority.
come last.
Yeah, exactly. As always.
That's crazy. I mean, I didn't even know the insurance side of this world. Like, what does that even look like for many of these drivers?
I mean, I didn't either, really, to be honest, for a long time. Both being, an aspiring racing driver and then an insurance professional in my own right outside of motorsport insurance. I had no idea motorsport insurance was actually a thing until I got a phone call basically saying, hey, I've got motorsport here listed as one of your interests on your CV. Do you know any people in the industry or anything about it? And I was like, how long you got?
So I got a list.
Started from there and then, moved into that job pretty quickly. The interview didn't last very long once they figured out my Rolodex. And onward from there. So we do crash damage insurance, which surprises pretty much everyone that's even possible. It's expensive.
That's crazy.
But the most important thing for me is that everyone's got their medical insurance sorted out, especially if guys are racing in places like the States where it's not super cheap to break a rib. Or a few more than a rib.
What's the craziest premium you've gotten?
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I mean, I worked in insurance before. Before I did motorsport insurance, and I did sort of large commercial property. So, I mean, I think the craziest premium I saw was 25 million for a 20 million layer.
Oh my Lord.
So 5 million more than you'd actually get a payout for. But that's just very intricate ways that things are structured. So that was for, I can't say who, but a very large online distributing marketplace. And their values were over 100 billion. So then you work on an account like that and then the premium stacks up pretty quickly. But I mean, you know, 90% of your viewership's just switched off. So sorry about that. But no, so that's what I did beforehand. I did large commercial property insurance at a company called Chubb. And so that's what I did. And then, now I do the motorsport insurance. So the largest one I've seen on the motorsport insurance side of things is probably in the region of about, for a single driver to have medical, it's probably in a region of about 40 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, not crazy, but it's not that every time. Prospective clients, it's not always going to be 40 grand. Still ring me.
And when it comes to motorsport insurance, there are obviously other players out there.
Yep.
But I would imagine they're not as charming as you.
Who could be?
I know, right? But like, what do you feel like your competitive advantage is compared to some of those other players in the industry?
If there's some good guys out there, and I can't do everyone. If everyone came knocking on my door, I wouldn't have time to service it. So I need competitors. But for me, it's being able to speak both languages. There's a lot of guys who are just insurance people who have then turned into, they've got, I do motorsport insurance, I better learn about motorsport. Or more common, they'll be motorsport people who are getting into insurance, and then they arrive and they go, right, I'm pretty sure I've got this, and then it turns out they don't real fast. So that's kind of good. I can, I learned the trade of insurance doing my, large commercial placements in North America, and then I've now been able to apply my passion to something that I already knew quite a lot about. So that's probably what I'd say my biggest advantage is I can talk to a driver as a driver, and they're not going to go, ew, gross, insurance agent, get away from me. All you want all you want is that commission, which is still true. So I can talk to them like a peer, and then I can come back and I can talk to the insurance partner like a peer, so that's where I come through, I'd say, the strongest.
That's crazy. And is this a mandatory thing for all drivers to get?
No, not necessarily. Not for every championship, and every contract's different for everybody. So at the moment, the FIA Academy series, for example, there's a written rule in their regs that they have to have €1 million coverage for racing in the US. Wow. Which is fine. It's just a criteria that I now need to go back to my insurers and work around, and they go, I'm not giving you $1 million, not in the US. And I'm going, no. They actually, they're not actually going to let them race if this doesn't happen. And then they just go, I still don't want to. And I'm like, okay, we're going to lose the client. There's certain things like that come up every so often where you go, okay, right, we've now got to cater to this, or it's liability insurance. They need their own this, they need their own that. And so, you just kind of need to stay on your toes and understand the different requirements of the different championships. But for the most part, it's fairly straightforward.
Right. Yeah. And be honest, are you insured?
I've never owned a single insurance product in my life.
Where's James's medical insurance?
No, well, that's kind of the funny thing. That's sort of how it became a heavy focus of mine. Is I was doing my own racing way back when. In the States, racing go-karts, I ended up going under a wall at about 90 miles an hour and ended up in the hospital for about 8 or 9 hours.
Oh my God.
$72,000 later, we figure out that racing is excluded as a dangerous activity in any standard travel insurance policy.
Wow.
So then, all right, survived the crash, good, passed stage 1. Stage 2, get released from hospital. They go, where's the money?
Where's the bill?
And so we basically just try and get ourselves out of there as quick as we can, and then figure out down the line, we're not insured, and so then that turns into its whole drama of itself. So now it's my job to make sure that doesn't happen to anyone else. So,
and you talked about your karting days. You grew up in New Zealand.
Yep.
Tell us about how you got into karting. Was that always like a part of the family, or was it just like you found a magazine or something? Like, how did you get into karting?
How would I got into karting? Dad always liked cars, but he was never in a position to be able to race when he was growing up. So it wasn't a sort of thing that's been passed down. But he always liked cars, and then luckily was in a position where maybe it was possible for me to start karting. So I went to school with the younger brother of. There used to be this championship called A1GP. Okay. The New Zealand driver, Johnny Reid, his younger brother, Nathan, was in my class at school, and he was racing go-karts, and we became fast friends. And then ultimately, by the end of the year, I was into go-kart racing. So that was how I got started and loved it, like, most people who start go-karting does. And then from there on out, just, met the right people along the way, became teammates. I mean, this kind of story all starts when I became teammates with Marcus in 2014. And so, and that's kind of That's the journey in. It was just I like cars, and Dad had the idea to put me in a go-kart.
And when did it change from like, okay, this is like a hobby to like, okay, I actually really want to take this seriously?
Yeah, so I'm the exception to most of your guests, and I've done the bell curve. I've gone, this is fun. This could happen. This isn't going to happen. Let's just find something real. So I think I probably got like better than most. Maybe 4 or 5 years into racing, which is too late to be on. Like to actually discover that you might be any good. But so yeah, I won a national championship in New Zealand when I was 17. But even by then, the fact that I was winning national championships in New Zealand at 17 and Ollie Behrman was starting in his first season in Formula 2 for Prema, the dream was over, So yeah, that's kind of how it works out. But it's good, I always say to a lot of people, I say to any dad or parent who's looking to maybe get their kid into karting, I'm like, do it. Because I got so much more out of karting as far as life skills, how to deal with disappointment, how to deal with expectation, all that kind of stuff. Light the private school money on fire. That was a waste. That was the biggest waste of money. But I got so much out of karting that you can't learn through, I actually think, any other sport more so than even just any education platform.
Yeah. And do you miss it?
Yeah,
back in the
for sure.
Racing? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, there maybe might be a few opportunities coming up for me.
Oh, nice.
But no, I do, and I miss it. I miss being able to just absolutely push something as hard as I can, because even now anything that comes up I'm going to have to be pretty careful, because you can guarantee I'm not paying for it. And so the only way to enjoy motorsport is if you can look at the price of the car and giggle when you lose it in a casino.
There you go.
And as someone who has done a lot of karting, I think a lot of people say that, okay, if you want to find like a generational talent or a good driver, look back at their karting days, there were probably some signs. What do you think sets people apart when it comes to being a really, really good driver to just being like a, kind of average driver, if you will?
Yeah, I'd say 2 things. Karting, but in the rain. Because that's as raw as it gets. Even at karting level, the differential between the engines and motors and things like that is still, there is a relatively large effect of that. But in the rain, that's all taken off, So a good example for that would be Juan Correa, who in 2013, I think, absolutely smoked everyone when it rained at the Karting World Champs. That's some deep knowledge from me, by the way. If that turns out to be true. And which I might not.
Text Juan right now and be like, is that true?
What's he going to say? No.
About that.
So no, if you can put out a serious performance in the rain and but destroy everyone, that's a sign. And there's a video of Lewis doing that online, I think, as well, somewhere. That's probably a good line.
Even our guest Guido was like, Max is so dominant, but like, it's also more dominant because he grew up karting in the rain all the time in the Netherlands. Which is like, they don't 100%. Stop. They're not like, oh, the race is canceled. No, you're going.
Bolt on a set of slicks and get out there. No, so that's one. And then dealing with pressure is the other one. Dealing with expectation. That's why, we'll probably, by the time this is come out, have seen a little bit about how Kimi Antonelli is going to get going in F2. At 17, man, like the whole nation of Italy is like knows who he is. Like they're on it. There's a guy who I see at work who's just Italian. He's not even a motorsport fan. He's just Italian, and he's like, "Oh, this Kimi Andreas, he's the next. He's the big one." I don't know. He's 17, man. I'd only just won a national championship in New Zealand at that time. Just get that in there twice. So seeing now how he deals with that is going to be really interesting, and Mercedes of all people are going to be paying the closest attention to that, especially seeing also yesterday that I've heard there's a job going.
Even F1 posted a grid photo today being like, who's going to replace that seat? And they put Kimi's photo in there. Before they didn't even put Mick Schumacher there. Nope. They didn't even put Fred Vesti in there. They put Kimi's face right there.
Oh man, exactly. And like
they want him to be the next Max.
Well, everyone's looking for the next Max, right? The same way everyone's looking for the next Ronaldo, the same way everyone's looking for the next, whoever else. There's a lot of people that are going to make a lot of money out of that kid.
100%.
And everyone's lining up.
Hey guys, quick break. Michael, do you want to arm wrestle? Not right now, but I will give you this much. You have been working out a lot more and you're getting a lot stronger and fit.
Yes, because we are now working with Tonal and we have one at home, and it has been a game changer. It's so convenient. I don't have to be in a sweaty gym and using weights and being lazy and whatever. I have a program and it's so convenient. I could do it at any time of the day.
Yeah, I love it too. It keeps you accountable because it's powered by AI. So it learns from your reps. So it increases per your workload. It's perfect.
Very adaptive. It's a personal trainer.
Essentially.
It really is. So with that said, guys, because we are working with Tonal right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code TRACKLIMITS. That's tonal.com and use promo code TRACKLIMITS for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal, TONAL.com, promo code TRACKLIMITS for $200 off.
That's a great deal.
It's a sweet deal. Thanks, Tonal.
Thanks, Donald.
What do you think about sim racing though? On the other side of the world,
I know almost nothing about it, to
Yeah.
be perfectly honest. Because by the time we'd paid for karting, paying for a whole sim rig setup was out of the question.
Yeah.
So that was like, I've never
pricey.
really done the sim stuff.
Yeah.
As far as I've gone as a DualShock 3,
Oh,
you know. But
Shock 3. My guy said Dual Shock 3. Wow.
Yeah.
it's a PlayStation or Xbox.
but
Do you think they need insurance too?
no, yeah, so that's the thing. There's not a lot of danger involved in being a sim racer.
You know,
so,
them thumbs. You
Yeah.
should see
Oh,
his.
man.
end of
Gets
career
bad.
arthritis
Force
injuries.
feedback sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
Take
sure.
a corner the wrong way, snap.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
over.
thing. Like, I've kind
You
of
can find a business out of it.
Insure me for 5K.
yeah, I know a lot of the guys do it. I feel like I'm too old for it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Come on.
Don't say that, bro.
Don't
Come
age
on.
yourself like
but
that.
like, no, I don't know. I'd love to have a sim rig.
Yeah.
I always say that, just to put a podcast in and just listen and just
Race.
soothe myself and just
Yeah.
cut laps, not even race.
Yeah.
I'd make myself angry. I wouldn't race online. Absolutely not.
It is
My
toxic.
ego's far too
Yeah.
fragile for that. But yeah, no. If there's anyone looking to give me a free sim rig, then please get in touch.
Yep. We know a few people. It's Next Level Racing.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Send them my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
F2. You know a ton of people, obviously, within F2. You're friends with many of them. I'm curious if you feel like there is a lot of really good talent F2 that can't get into F1 because of, again, how limited the spots are. And what sort of changes do you think then need to be implemented in motorsport to give these younger drivers an opportunity to really drive at the highest level?
Yeah. Well, very disappointingly, we just saw Andretti's bid get turned down by Formula One because they wouldn't be competitive. I don't know if they've ever read anything about motorsport, but the Andretti name isn't synonymous with sucking shit.
Yeah.
You know?
It carries.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that says to me. It feels like that to the fans for me and to the drivers as well.
Yeah.
So what do? You've got IndyCar, but I can tell you, the price of a seat in IndyCar just from 23 to 24 has gone up by a factor of 4.
Wow.
So the demand's now going there. The talent's going there. Great. Now you've got another issue. That's getting full. What do? So I think, and I talked to James Hinchcliffe about this a little bit, that there's such a capacity for another top level, top flight, naturally aspirated Formula Race, no shade, but naturally aspirated championship. Maybe do we turn Super Formula into an international championship? It's already got super license points.
Yeah.
Why don't we expand it out and we put your Dragoviches, your Piastris of the past, your Mick Schumachers? Let's put them in that.
Yep.
All right. Somebody's going to have to work out the commercial side of it, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too bloody hard. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true.
so I reckon it's going to take 300 or 400 million euros to see anything like that actually start.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, where supply meets demand is a happy place right now. And there's so much more demand of talent or supply of talent than there is demand for talent from the teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a weird one. Something's got to give because at the moment we're losing the sporting aspect of it.
And even like isn't the saying just the worst thing you could possibly do right now is win F2? Like you're just going to be stuck in limbo pretty much, right?
Yeah, take Teo Pourchaire. He won it in his 3rd year. So I mean, he's a great peddler, and he absolutely is good enough to be in Formula One, as is Felipe Drugovich, as is anyone else who's won the championship and gotten forgotten about. Timo Glock.
Yeah, we got God.
So, yeah, it's going to be a strange one. Even this year, like both of those Prema guys should be in Formula One next year. But is there space? I don't know.
Probably not.
Well, yeah, it's also a question of like, why do drivers also hesitate to not take the endurance route or the IMSA route? Is it because it's
once you're in, and it's the same with, I think it's the same with Formula E. Yeah. Once you're in that system, it's very difficult to get out. For a start, you're getting paid, typically, and you don't have to then do the finance raising and do kiss all the babies to try and win the sponsors and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very comfortable spot to get into once you're there, which is not comfort's good. It's nice to be comfortable. And it's a great, and endurance, I think, is the next big thing as far as, so long as there's not that next tier 1 championship. Endurance is the next best thing, and there's the next best racing for fans to look at. And I think IMSA over the weekend was a great example. We had a 24-hour race decided by under 2 seconds. When was the last time we had a Formula One Grand Prix decided?
That was that.
So
memories.
So I think the future's bright for racing. It's just what it's actually going to look like is going to be pretty interesting, and whether or not Formula One stays a part of that, I think, is another question altogether itself, because I don't really see it that much as a sport. I cannot agree more with anything Verstappen said in and around that Vegas weekend, where it was, what are we actually doing here? It's Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift all over again. It's like, again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just commercialism, and it's people are going to make money where there's an opportunity to make money. Warren Buffett made millions out of 9/11. People are going to make money where they see an opportunity. You're never going to stop that. So the only answer is to try and make the product that makes the money as good as possible for the people who aren't making money out of it.
You got to be curious, like whether, in the same way, like you had PGA, you had Live Now, if you're going to see that with F1, where you're going to have, a big conglomerate come and be like, you know what, we're going to add in 50 slots, we're going to commercialize this, broadcast it out, but we're going to give more opportunities to the would have.
Well, we almost saw it, I think, in 2010. There was an attempt at something like that when everybody was sick of Max Mosley and Bernie. His Nazi orgies. But so they put a stop to that, and then they all did a deal, and they came back together on the grid for 2009, I think it might have been. And so,
but the commercial interest now is
I mean, that was at the peak of a global financial crisis. There's a little bit more money in people's pockets right now. So, I think it's only a matter of time. But I think that Formula One's probably done a good job in aligning themselves so heavily with Saudi Arabian oil money that who's going to put a knife in Judas' back? They're like that already. Formula One and the Saudi Arabians, they absolutely love each other. So where's the competing bid going to come from if it's not Saudi Arabia? Who's going to outbid Saudi Arabia? Not me.
Look, with all that insurance money, I don't know.
I'm going to need to whack up the brokerage.
But no, on a fun side though, you spend a lot of time in the paddock. What are some fun stories that not a lot of people hear about, but we'd love to hear?
That you can tell us.
I mean, the only ones I can tell you are at my own detriment.
Okay, let's do it. Let's hear it.
All right, so the famous one among friends is Abu Dhabi 2022. Marcus Armstrong had a sponsor on board for the weekend. They were giving him, frankly, a lot of money for just to have the logo on. They wanted to come party and do all the things. Right, great, sure. So we're setting up Screaming Meals pretty much around about the same time, right? And so I get a FaceTime from Marcus's dad, and he goes, "Hey mate, all good. I'm paying for all the Screaming Meals stuff, which is fine. Could you just help us get this deal over the line?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries, Rick, absolutely." The deal was nowhere near over the line. So basically, I put together this 25-page legal contract, did all the thing, and then I'm kind of hosting the sponsor for the weekend. Okay. All right. We don't even see them on the Saturday because they got so hooned up on the Friday night. But I'm like, all right, this is the easiest job ever. So I've got my feet up by Saturday evening. And then we go out for a few drinks, and Nick DeVries comes down to our table, and he's due to start his massively successful Formula One career the following year at the time. And so he's there, and I've looked up to Nick for years. I'm like, what am I not going to do? Not get on the piss with Nick DeVries? I'm sending it. Like, these sponsors aren't even going to show up tomorrow. Like, so yeah, some regrettable decisions later. I woke up the following morning and almost got Ollie Behrman cancelled that night. No. But anyway, he wasn't there actually. No, he wasn't. And so I woke up with the world's worst hangover, have a fat panic attack at around about 5 a.m., get myself to the track, and the sponsors are coming in spades today. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So I grabbed some passes to go out, and I meet them. So silver Rolls Royce. And I'm like, okay, 1 in 1,000 here in Dubai. And they pull up and they go, all right, here are your passes. And they go, all right, another car's coming up behind us. And I said, what? These are all of our passes. He was like, oh, they're coming. Anyway, sort it out. Goes in through security. God. There's like airline level security to get in, which you don't usually have at F2. Yeah. And so they get in, and I'm like, all right, chuck me your passes back. I'm gonna have to do the old shuffle here, in and out, and so we get there, and then all right, I run, and the race is not far off starting, but they've met everyone. They're sort of doing this. Get the next car, get right all through security, then back, and the race is about to start, and he goes, James, brother, got just 6 more people. Go,
oh my lord!
You fucking what now? Dubai heat, world's worst hangover. Jesus. Just had a fat panic attack, as I said. And so I'm sprinting now again. I'm like, right, I've got to keep these sponsors happy. Marcus is about to go out for his race. Don't know where we're qualified. Right, sprint, wait, don't know. Right, there's another silver Rolls Royce is apparently arriving. All right, find them, get them through the gate. Everyone's wondering why I've just been swimming, and I'm just absolutely 10 to the dozen. Get them through, the car's gone, and I've like, right, okay, but the sponsors are, and they seem happy, just kind of floating around the garage and whatever. I had to take one off Isaac Hadjar, one off Jack Crawford. Right, race finishes. Okay. During the race, the sponsor says that they want to give Marcus some more money for IndyCar. So I'm like, fantastic, we've done the job.
Secured it.
Rover. Cars come back, race finishes, team manager comes over to me, like that, goes to shake my hand. I go, and he goes, no. How could you think it was a good idea to take that pass off Isaac? The whole purpose of him being here this weekend is that he learns, he's part of the team, and you've just totally fucked everyone. You've totally fucked this whole thing up. And I'm like,
oh no.
Sorry.
That's all so Isaac got kicked out?
No, so Isaac couldn't go to the grid because I had one of his passes for the sponsor. So the team manager comes back, betting, absolutely furious. So I'm now like just not welcome back at Isaac.
No. So I mean, in looking at that, you can't make everyone happy.
No, you can't.
So you did the sense.
My argument was it says Armstrong on the car, and I got Armstrong sponsor happy. So
there you go.
There you go. Well, next year when it says Hadjar on the car, we'll give you passes.
Was Isaac pretty pissed or no?
Yeah, but Isaac's always pretty pissed.
That's fair. Wow. And then what about the party culture? Like, unless again, don't share anything you can't, but like, who are the notorious people that like maybe most people wouldn't know?
What? Don't share anything you can't. Name the worst people.
Like a list.
Not the worst people, but who are like the like, you know, if you had to pick 3 people, for example, in F2 and F1 to party with, who would you pick? Outside of Clement,
if I had to pick people,
outside of Clement Market,
if I had to pick people who I know are a good time,
good time
when it's appropriate,
exactly, when it's appropriate,
to drink responsibly and
when they're
enjoy.
Age.
3 people, 1 for sure. Yeah. Although he's gone a little bit live, laugh, love these days. Yeah. Crawford's always great fun.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is he now?
I think he's 18 finally.
He's been, for the last few months, Crawford's always been great fun. And who else is on the F2 grid this year? Martins is boring as hell. Great guy, but boring as hell. I don't know. I'd have to actually look at the grid. I don't know if Boschong's racing again, but he gets after it, I've heard. Yeah. And then on the F1 grid, I mean, I've only ever dabbled with, one F1 driver in a nightclub, to my knowledge.
But
I would
dabbled, by the way.
No comment. Not anything untoward, I promise. But No, I'd probably say from what I've heard in F1, I can't actually claim to know anything like this, but the people who you think might be the worst are the worst.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
That's what I'd say. Yeah, and then IndyCar, it's all pretty chill. It's kind of just a barbecue and a beer afterwards. No worries.
No,
it's nice and chill.
Yeah.
I mean, take us back to Screaming Meals. It is a podcast that we thoroughly love. You've had some interesting guests on that, but tell us the inception story.
Yeah, the inception story is we were just having dinner and Marcus was saying, I've got all these photos on my phone from going and eating in restaurants. What should I do with it? Maybe I should start a food blog. He basically just starts these sort of podcasts of his own just at dinner tables and just talk himself into another idea. And so he started this food blog and we said, right, we'll call it Screaming Meals because our favorite fishing show is called Screaming Reels.
That's a nice one.
Which it's a comedy fishing show from the early 2000s in New Zealand. I'm shocked you haven't heard of it.
What can I say?
It's a very common question.
Is that the show, by the way, that you told me to ask Marcus a question from? My god. I went into Marcus's what was it like Indy announcement press conference. He just got announced for Indy. And I asked James, I'm like, look, I'm going to be in the Zoom call. What question should I ask Marcus? And what was the question? I don't even remember.
If you were to be stuck on a desert island overnight with nothing but a case of champagne, would you rather be stuck with Bear Grylls or Penelope Cruz?
I say this, and literally Marcus just smiled.
And like gave it like that weird, he like smirked. Like, he just didn't
it's funny, the moderator for the conference was like, Swish, I've never seen you here before. Why don't you ask a question? But anyways, back
goes
to
our media passes.
So that was from Screaming Reels, the early 2000s fishing show from New Zealand. So that's how it started, and so we started the food blog, and then he wanted to do a podcast for ages. Because of Ferrari, he couldn't. As soon as he got out of Guantanamo, he said, right, let's fire up the podcast, and off we go.
I love it. Well, who's been your favorite guest?
Pit Stop Boys.
Chadwick, for sure.
Jamie Chadwick.
Well, I mean, the Pit Stop Boys. I mean, they're the ones I'm the closest to now. They're actually good friends. They're great guys. I know you guys have met them. They're really top blokes. I'm really sorry about the way that went down. But no, Jamie Chadwick is a fantastic example of somebody who just was who you want them to be from the TV. She's such a gangster. She's
I watched that episode. She like looked very comfortable with you guys.
So cool.
Like, she was cool.
She's so much cooler than we are. So of course she's like that much more comfortable, you know.
And then what about the plan for 2024? If you have to look forward, Screaming Meals, do you guys want to make that something bigger? I saw the merch. The merch is epic.
Yes, we did some merch.
Very cool. Anything else in the works that you can share?
Yeah, we're going to do a lot more vlogging stuff. I think me and Clem, we might have to break it out and do like a Screaming Meals spin-off thing, just so that none of Ganassi's sponsors are tied to anything that me and Clem are doing. There's some stuff that we're going to have. That's the good news and the bad news is that there's going to be some stuff that we'll have to disassociate from Marcus Armstrong for his own benefit. But for your benefit as the viewers, a bit more of a lift behind the curtain, us being a bit more ourselves rather than taking a couple of the chains off.
And and this is maybe just a question I always have, why do you guys show up in suits a lot of times?
Well, a lot of the time,
insurance broker.
Genuinely, Clem just loves throwing a suit on every occasion.
I love it.
I'm genuinely just most of the time having to wear a suit at work, so I'll roll up wearing a suit, and then we'll tell Marcus, and he'll show up wearing one of his sister's blazers and like some flare chinos, and we're just like, this isn't a suit, but fine, we'll go with it.
Go ahead. That's fair. Final two questions, Penny. You got one?
Do I?
Do you?
Yeah.
What's your question?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to look.
I will go, and Henny can end off. Right. How do you deal with negativity? And I'm curious because of, again, we mentioned the Pit Stop Boys, the drama that ensued.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people candidly came after you guys, but definitely there was still, commotion online.
Yeah.
No, but even regardless.
A certain amount of stick.
Yeah, even outside of that one, the internet is a toxic place. And sometimes people will go after you. How do you deal with that?
I don't know. I think if you can't handle the heat, get out of the fire. You guys know as well. Like, if you were worried about what people were going to say, you never would have started the thing. Like, I've got enough of my own demons going on in here that anything, I like this. There's a quote. There's a kind of a half quote from a roast. There's nothing that's as mean as anything I could have already said to myself in the mirror that can be said online. Right. So, like, you know, who cares? It is what it is. Not everyone's going to like what you're doing, but ultimately, especially on the podcast side of things, you're like, oh, we're putting this podcast out there on the internet for free. So have it or don't have it, you know, it's all good. So I don't deal with negativity is really kind of the answer. It's just, you know, anything that comes from my own head is the only thing worth worrying about.
And I mean, to add to that, is there a moment where you said, shit, I failed? Like, I screwed this deal up, like, dramatically.
So.
How do you even, like, overcome that?
Daily basis. Pick a week. Yeah, like, there is, but it's never as bad as, like, I've had enough failures now at 26 that they're never as bad as they seem on day one. So, you know, it's not the point of why bother worrying about it. You should worry about, you know, how you're coming across and the things that are going on in your world. But I don't see much of a point in getting too hung up on it.
In the grand scheme of things, it really does not matter.
No, exactly. I mean, some things have gone catastrophically wrong in my life to get me here, and here is great. Why worry about it?
I love it. Well, that is a purple.
It
green?
is. I mean, that's story enough.
That's a purple. Well, we're going to get into a rapid fire round with James. I guarantee you it is not something you want to miss. We're going to be coming back with James. Rapid fire round soon.
Hey guys, I know I've been saying this a lot, but life has been so busy, and it's even busier in the summer, and it's so hard to keep a healthy diet, especially when you're indulging, going out, whatnot. And I think the biggest proponent of our balance has been thanks to Factor.
100%. And we've been using Factor for some time now. And
even before they started working with us.
Exactly. And we love how it's never frozen. It's always fresh. They have so many different options as well. Like they have Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. And it's all chef crafted as well. It's brilliant.
Yes. You have so many options to choose from on a weekly basis. But more than anything, I think it's the convenience of getting your time back, because you don't have to grocery shop. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean the kitchen, which you hate doing. And it's just so much, and it's also healthy. I'm so looking forward to actually what we're getting this week with chicken parm, blackened salmon. Cannot wait. So I don't know what you're waiting for. If you want to make today the day you kickstart your new healthy routine, we have a special deal for you. Head to factormeals.com/tracklimits50 and use code tracklimits50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code tracklimits50 at factormeals.com/tracklimits50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
It's a great deal.
Fantastic.
Genuinely, it's a great deal.
Thanks, Factor.
Welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. Henny, we gave James a purple. So honestly, he just needs a purple now to get pole.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's going to get a yellow. But let's see. Let's see. I don't know.
Fighting talk.
All right. Trash
I'm still not telling you who the worst party is. I'm still not doing it.
That's why. I was
now we're definitely not fighting
out. You're getting a purple now.
Anyways, all right. Here we go, James. We're going to tell you a bunch of questions. Answers, please. Short, full of fire.
Okay.
Here we go. Which platform would you delete out of the bigger ones?
Social Twitter. Platforms. Yeah.
Twitter. Okay.
We don't know what that is.
Sorry.
There you go. The racing memorabilia you currently own or would love to own?
Racing memorabilia I currently own. I have a piece of Clem's front wing from the Zandvoort race weekend. He knocked off in qualifying. I've got the end plate on my desk at work, which I use as my phone stand.
Was that the weekend he won?
Yeah.
Oh, epic.
Yeah,
that's sick.
Assign this attribute to one of the Screaming Meals hosts, including yourself, by the way.
Okay, sure.
All right. Always late.
Marcus.
Can rizz up anyone.
Clem.
All right. Hardest worker.
Me.
Best cook.
Clem.
Okay. Not Marcus?
No, heavens no. No, his recipe book is Deliveroo and Uber Eats. Yeah.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, I'm guilty as well. So.
Talking about food, if you can only have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
My sister's chicken pasta bake.
Oh my God, we've been getting pasta like crazy.
Pasta. I like pasta though.
Yeah, you've been interviewing drivers there. Yeah. They all grew up in Italy.
So, yeah, that is a fact.
Most unpopular opinion you have.
Oh,
I don't know how unpopular they are.
Don't get yourself canceled, mate.
yeah,
Don't do it.
because we will air it.
yeah, we would do like the screaming meals.
Yeah, we won't cut it up.
Yeah, I would say that my most unpopular opinion is the opinion I have about probably actually ketchup on shepherd's pie. I don't know.
You like ketchup on shepherd's pie?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, okay.
that is
I
unpopular.
can't say any of my F1 ones because people will read into them too far.
He's like, I still have a business to run, guys.
Yeah.
Ketchup on shepherd's pie. I love it.
That's a pretty bad
Could be
one.
cryptic.
Yeah. Next one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I would say
Teleportation.
yes, teleportation.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wildest prediction for the 2024 F1 season.
I mean, one out the
What
bag.
already happened.
Someone's getting sacked.
Oh,
I reckon someone's getting sacked, and it's not going to be. I can't see it being either one of the Visa, MasterCard, Checkbook, HSBC, Santander, Red Bull Racing, DHL, FedEx number, whatever they are. But I don't know. I just feel like someone's getting sacked. I feel like
Are
someone's
we
getting
talking driver or principal?
sacked. Go driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Both.
Well,
Both.
full
Double
clean
down.
sweep. Most embarrassing moment you've had at a race weekend that nobody knows about, other than the other story.
The most embarrassing one I've had. I don't know, mate. To be honest, there's a lot, but I just don't embarrass that easily. So, like, I'd say, it's probably something to do with. Oh, I threw up on myself at a prize giving once.
At a prize giving.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because of nervousness?
No.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that one.
Yeah. Trying to give you a boat here, mate.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
All right, here we go. We're watching Vampire Diaries right
Oh
now.
my God.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Gossip Girl. 100%.
Hey.
100%. Vampire Diaries is. It takes a manly man to admit that he's watching the Vampire Diaries.
4
but I
episodes in
appreciate
now
it.
to season 2? 5? We started last week.
Strong going.
Yeah, thank you.
Strong going.
That
Riverdale. That was a real.
I haven't seen that one yet.
don't
That's
have it.
Scooby Doo, right? Or but like the adult version, or the
Scooby-Doo?
kid version.
Sure.
Yeah. What?
No.
Yeah.
What is Riverdale?
Scooby Doo, Velma, and Archie?
Is that
It's
Riverdale?
Archie. Sorry, it's the
Yeah,
Archie.
yeah,
Oh.
it's another
Not
crap
Scooby-Doo, my bad.
Netflix
Oh, shit.
situation.
Yeah.
Same as Outer Banks.
Yeah.
You remember it? Okay, I still don't know it. Next one. If you were trapped in an elevator with Lewis Hamilton, what would you say to him?
If I was trapped in an elevator with Lewis Hamilton, what would I say to him? I'd probably ask him why he's not released any music. I'd be like, well,
Yeah.
what's going on? Like,
Oh.
you,
That's a good one.
he's banged on about it for a better part of a decade now. And,
You always see these videos intermittently of him like playing music and working
Or
on
making,
it, but he
yeah.
never releases it anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's probably just taking the racing driver approach of buy the most expensive kit.
Yeah.
Show it off. I would have turned around and be
That's
like,
my whole personality. Remember when Lando Norris was a DJ for like 7 months?
what happened to that?
Well, he just got bored and now he's not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I would have been like, Lewis, you got insurance? Just
And he
ask
had
him.
like Kygo, he had like Martin Garrix, he had like all those guys around him.
yeah,
He
I
could have
mean,
made it.
That's the cool thing about being an F1 driver right now, I would imagine, is that if you pick up a hobby, then you're just
Know
gonna
the world.
you're gonna have the best of the best who just want to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final 2 questions. You're stranded on an island. Your objective is to get off the island
With
and
Penelope
to
Cruz or
safety.
Bear Grylls?
You get posters of them.
You get posters. Fine, take it. Which 3 F1 or IndyCar drivers are you taking with you and why? Remember, your objective is to get out of this island to safety.
Okay, the objective is to get to
Yeah.
safety.
Get to safety. But why not have a good story while you're at
Yeah,
it?
I mean, it's past or present or current?
Current.
Ah, okay, because I was going to say it's Hinch by a landslide.
Uh-huh.
How many am I allowed? Sorry,
3.
3. God, who are the smartest ones? Callum Ilott, Habsburg. Wait, did they have to be IndyCar? Or F2?
IndyCar or F1. You can't pick a
Okay.
different one.
All right. Does Ilott count? Because he had a contract for this year.
We'll count him. I'm pretty sure he'll be back.
Yeah. I'd say Ilott. Who else is smart?
Who else is smart?
Yeah.
Damn.
Correa.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, F1.
Oh, true.
God, they're all so stupid.
That's a clip. Yeah.
I'd say Ricardo's got to know how to swim.
Yeah.
And he's, he must have grown up on the beach.
Yeah.
Then you're probably going to have, I'd take Lewis just because it'd be fun to watch him suffer.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably have from IndyCar, Marcus, because it'd be fun to watch him suffer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. I think I know the answer to this, but if you're writing autobiography on your life, which one resonates with you? We got the daredevil, the dream catcher, the free spirit, or the hardest worker.
Could I be the hardest working spirit?
Boom.
There we go.
I like it.
Hardest working spirit. That's free.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's taken.
On a serious note, thank you, James, for coming
Yes.
on. We end off every interview asking our question of, if you have, think about it, your life, you're at 70, you're at 80, can't even imagine you at 70 or 80. Not on
Neither can my liver.
No, you'll make it, not in terms of your face, sorry. But
No,
anyways, wow. Maybe I got canceled. What sort of legacy do you want to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered? Do you think about it? If so, what sort of legacy do you want to leave behind?
I'd like everyone to laugh subtly when my name comes up. That'd be a cool one. Everyone just go,
James.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah, that'd be it. That'd be enough for me. If I can be remembered as that guy was fun to hang out with.
Hey.
Brilliant.
That's it.
I love it.
Thank you for coming on. Guys, we're going to link James's social below. We're also going to put the Screaming Meals podcast below. Check it out. These guys are so entertaining, so funny. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
And if
Thanks,
you like
fellas.
We had
if
an
you like
amazing
this
time.
episode, merch.
Yeah, buy it. Trust me.
That's endorsed by James.
Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.